Seeing the injustice in the world, an actress named Tangmo died under suspicious circumstances. After 2 years, there are still people like AJ who devote their lives to demanding justice without any fear. Even though he was sued by 21 police officers, he still won the case because of his persistence in demanding justice for Tangmo, even though he was not related by blood or business. Just because of being a human being who became a victim of a powerful person from his past karma, but used what he had more than others in this life to create new karma by committing worldly and karmic offenses, just because he was afraid that people would know about his greed, which was just a small matter compared to the life of an actress. According to what the author listened to in the clip and the analysis from people interested in various fields that were in the media, not saying it himself, but it is clear that if he had the power, money, and position, he might be able to force people to think in the same direction, which would allow him to survive in the world. But he probably did not know that he could not use his power, money, or any position to buy a way out of the consequences of his own karma that no one knew about. That will affect both this life and the next life with the life after death called the law of karma. From the knowledge from being a student at the Dream in Dream Kindergarten School of the former Luangpur Damajao, Kru Mai Yai, which we call O1, or Mongkorn Sun Kai, in the definition of a real wise person that Kiantawan has been telling stories about all along. It can be easily explained that what happened to Tangmo is the result of the karma from one of her past lives that has come to an effect. Everything that she was done to, until her death, is a reflection that she had done that to a woman in a past life that has come to an effect. And because she herself does not believe in Buddhism, she did not receive the merit that her Buddhist fans have joined together to make merit and dedicate to her since she heard the news on February 24, 2022. So it is not strange, right, that there are spiritualists who say that her spirit is full of resentment, which if she is a Buddhist who knows about merit and sin, she will be able to receive merit. And with merit, any resentment will be diluted, reduced, until it disappears one day. Because Buddhism teaches that vengeance can be stopped by not holding a grudge, because whatever karma one commits, one will receive the result of that karma. As for which karma one will receive in which life, it depends on the merit of that person, which came first. And the attempt to seek justice of AJ continues to move forward with determination. If it were not for having a lot of past karma, he would not have cared to the point of being willing to devote himself to this extent. And what AJ is fighting for tends to face the big background of both money and military power. But do you see that in order to make this matter interesting to the public, it is necessary to spread and present it with reliable evidence and to awaken the consciousness of being a good person, loving justice in the media alliance and expand it to the masses of people nationwide in order to create a trend that will lead to a lawsuit as a criminal case, because in the case of Tangmo's death, there was a judgment that forced thinking, limiting only the witnesses and evidence that led to the judgment as an accident, allowing reliable forensic evidence that really exists, clearly seen, cannot refute the truth, which there is a lot that indicates that Tangmo may have died from murder, to be completely ignored and left uncared for. And the witnesses who could confirm the possibility that Tangmo may have died from murder were also cut from the invitation to be witnesses before that, just because there would be information indicating that it would conflict with the verdict that came out before that, equal to not wanting any truth. Here, I just summarized what I heard from many people and put it here. I did not specifically make a decision or slander anyone, but it is a touching and heartbreaking feeling when thinking of O1, who is respected by the disciples of Wat Phra Dhammakaya all over the world, even though he was not murdered physically. What happened to O1 since the criminal case was filed against him in 2016 and caused him to be charged with evading the arrest warrant? Then, using the power of the former prime minister, he used Section 44 to search the temple for 3 days between the 16th to the 18th of February 2017. And even though one could not be found, he found a reason to close the temple, intending to seize the temple and its assets, but was unsuccessful and had to open the temple as requested by the United Nations officials on the 10th of March 2017. But it resulted in 01 being dismissed from the position of abbot because he was charged with evading the arrest warrant. But the external methods could not harm or destroy 01's life. Instead, it was the insider, the traitorous disciple, the big secretary, and the Worm King, 06, who worked together to deceive the entire inner region of the disciples and then deceive the outer region by using 01's fake order. However, before 01 was confiscated of all power by the traitorous disciple, he had ordered to expel the Worm King from the temple and not let him return. This was the second expulsion, with 01's order on September 4th and 6th, 2017. The temple's disciples, led by Mr. I, saw that 06 was not interested in 01's order. So they devoted their physical and mental strength to the host team, pressuring them through online communication, asking to bring the host to meet 06 after the Cathan ceremony. This caused 06 to escape the confrontation by leaving the temple on October 22, 2017, immediately after the Cathan ceremony was over that night. And 01 ordered the traitorous disciple to put his hands down and meditate only. There is no deadline to stop sitting. 01 can use the text of his command to have districts at all levels join in accumulating great merit. It is a great act of pouring merit into merit by injecting the greatest merit at that time, which is the merit of planting the Benjasap tree to give flower petals to welcome the Dhammachai wandering monks of 2018, which is a direct worship of Luang Hu Sad, the conqueror of Mara. Because it is an extremely great merit, but it is the only year that 01 gives this merit to the inner district's children, both monks, novices and laypeople, while every year it is a merit for the outer district's children, starting from plucking the rose petals and planting the rich star and marigold, until it became Benjasap or Bantuan wealth for the year 2018, it was given as merit only to the children of the district in every level. Because 01 knew that the children of the district in his own area were about to run out of merit because they followed the order of 06, who claimed to be the president of the monks in the meeting of the 3 ashrams since 2009 and not accepting any merit work that 01 invited through the Dhamma satellite dish without bringing it to the temple executive committee first. That is, every new merit that 01 announced to do through the temple's Dhamma satellite channel from 2009 to 2016, a full 7 years, that is. Almost all of the districts and almost all had almost no merit left to return to Dusapuri. When 01 drove 06 out of the temple and ordered the traitorous disciple, his own big secretary, to step down and meditate alone in order to reflect on his own mistakes. 01 did not think and did not foresee with his Dhammakaya knowledge that the traitorous disciple would be taken back by Ms. E on November 25, 2017, after the traitorous disciple had been meditating for only 2 weeks and had a meeting to plan to permanently eliminate 01 since then. It became a joint plan with 06, who had returned to the temple again at the end of March 2018 to eliminate 01 from all real commanding power. And they succeeded on April 22, 2018. They, who initiated it from 06's personal grudge and collaborated with 01's big secretary, who followed the orders of the big boss, Ms. E, cut off the real 01's commanding path. Then the legend of Dragon Hidden Body was born, telling the story of the truth of the famous temple from 01 during July-August 2018. They eliminated people with different opinions from the temple, not allowing them to enter the temple, including the people who sent the story from the Hidden Dragon, has also been banned from entering the temple since August 26, 2018. They hunted down the group of outside dissidents who collaborated with Mr. I until they took Mr. I to adjust his attitude, causing him to change his goal and end his role in early 2019. They began to raise new funds, claiming to make merit related to the Great Dhammakaya Sitya, the merit of the Golden Plate Sirarat, using the name someone instead of O1. But used deceptive words and style to make the host believe that he meant O1 but did not mention the name. No one dared to ask why he did not mention the name like they had seen before. Which was the name, Dao Song San, which referred to an order from the real O1. But in fact, they planned to destroy the sacredness of this million Buddha Sitya first, thinking that this would directly cut off the power of O1's Dhammakaya knowledge. According to their understanding based on listening to any knowledgeable teachers who had spoken about the sacredness of this great Sitya. What they did, they later found out from listening to those who had rough experiences and those who had subtle Dhamma, who all said the same thing about what they did: black magic, sorcery. Tied the black magic to the gold plate that was covered as claimed by the fundraising, and they intended to take the group to search the temple to find O1 again in February 2019. But this time it will not be like 2017 because they plan to do the next step immediately, which is when they can't find him. They will chase everyone out of the temple and close the temple and seize it until the case is over, which will never happen. In O1's vision that saw the future, O1 knew that if he disappeared when they searched the temple again, his children would definitely be left stranded. His children, meaning monks, novices, male and female lay devotees, and workers, totaling more than 3,000 people, would be chased out of the temple and the temple would be closed. Where would they go? O1 decided to go himself on February 2, 2019, and gave information to O6, who planned to search and seize the temple that time so that O6 would change his mind, and O6 really changed his mind. Meaning he didn't have to hire anyone to search the temple and didn't have to waste a big show like in 2017. No need to chase all the people away and close the temple. But O6 impersonated O1 to control everything, both people and resources of the temple. O1 expected that his passing would not cause new karma for himself, which was the cause of more than 3,000 children being homeless and having no place to live and eat to make merit. He believed that as long as his children were still living at the temple, they would have to think hard about damaging the temple because it meant destroying their manpower to earn money. As for helping his children who didn't know anything, who would be tricked by them to commit sins to feed themselves, there was still a way to help if everyone was still alive. He expected that there would be a day when the true information from Mongkorn Sun Kai, that is, from him himself, would reach his children who truly had merit with him, both inside and outside the temple. But at least it wouldn't be the end of the temple if he let them raid the temple since February 2019. In fact, O1 saw that day, February 2nd, 2019, that in the future in 2024, he would have a chance. Receiving freedom means being released from this criminal case. O1 will be able to return to make merit for the temple and his children once again. However, O1 did not expect that the variable that would change the diagram that you see is O2, who on that day you decided to leave the temple, and O2 in the year 2567 would have become two different people due to many reasons combined during those 5 years. Especially when O2 completely forgot what O6 had done to O1 in the temple, which was wrong and was considered an enemy of the merit-making side like O1. Who O2 was ready to devote his life to protecting O1. And O2 would be deceived by O6 time and time again, just because O2 believed in himself more than O1 in the matter that was O2's weak point, which was always believing that people who graduated with a PhD must be more capable and more valuable than O2, who only graduated with a master's degree, and felt sorry for his hard-to-find qualities if he had to be kicked out of the temple and never to return, as O1 ordered, because of worldly reasons that O2 held on to. Instead of believing in O1's Dhammakaya knowledge and reasons of merit and sin. That has an effect on everyone who follows O2, confident that O2 is following O1 without change. Who will be led by a deceitful person like O6 who comes to rely on, clinging on, borrowing, the power and influence of O2 being number 2 of this large group, second only to O1. Embracing caring, O6 and finding a place for him in Thailand in Buddhism by having him cling to the position he received from Phra Mahabodhi after O6 was chased out of the temple by O1 and not allowed to return since September 2015 because of embezzlement of money. Because O6 embezzled 700 to 800 million baht in donations for the construction of Thatachivo Chetty without saying where it went, what it did with, or who it was given to. It was considered stealing, and was a crime both in the monastic and worldly sense. But because O1 didn't announce it to anyone, even O2 didn't know the truth. But O2 probably only knew that O6 was chased away from the temple by O1 and not allowed to return. This made O2 want to be a hero with great mercy. And the devil in his heart took advantage of O2's heart to think that chasing O6 away from the temple was inappropriate because it would cause revenge like what happened to Mr. Manao, who left the temple himself but later asked to come back because he had nowhere else to go. But O1 wouldn't let him, causing O2 to refuse to let him return to the temple. This matter haunted O2 that doing what O1 did caused Mr. Manao to feel resentment towards him, who had been trying to harass and discredit O1 and the temple for 10 years. If O2 did the same to O6 as to Mr. Manao, it will create Mr. Manao too. How much more difficult will the merit making of the group and the temple have to face? That's why O2 insisted on finding a way to help O6 return with a position. What O2 did was to be kind to the great thief who had some kind of pact with a different religion behind him, which O2 didn't know about, but O1 knew with his Dhammakaya insight, so he ordered him to leave like that. But for O2, who had no insight, he only saw the excellent virtues of O6's great monkhood. So he didn't see the extraordinary virtues of O1, who had more excellent virtues than anyone else. Most importantly, O1 was the highest and purest merit-making field in this era, which would create enormous merit for those who made merit with O1, but would also create enormous sins for those who committed heavy sins and harmed O1. O1 definitely didn't think of holding a grudge against anyone. However, the consequences of karma would occur according to cause and effect. The subtle matters that only Dhammakaya knowledge can bring about are the real heaven and hell, including the afterlife, which comes from what causes. And know the cause before being born. Before doing anything in this life, of anyone, see it in a single role, as O1 once told in the Dream Kindergarten program. Not knowing anything at all of O2. But because O2 has the status of the head monk and is the oldest, O2 has become an influential figure in the temple by default. When O2 does not have the Dhammakaya eye, like O1, O2 cannot see through the mind at the center of O6's body that it is pitch black, meaning it is a sin that cannot be washed away anymore. Which O1 knew, since O1 sent a message ordering those who like to do zigzags that if they do not stop to leave the temple. On the 6th of September 2017, there was an eyewitness at that time who said that in fact, after Dhammachai Day, the 27th of August 2017, O1 ordered all the people in the district, whoever witnessed O6's actions that were incorrect or wrong, was to write it all on a piece of A4 paper, in your own handwriting, and send it to O1 within 3 days. And after 3 days, it was found that the information totaled to 1 ream. 1 ream of printing paper has 500 sheets. 01 gave it to Ajarn Lu to photocopy it to have one set, and then gave it to O2 to deal with O6's mistake. Which was not an accusation, but rather seeing that it really happened to that extent. The result was that immediately after O2 received the stack of documents, not long after, someone saw O2 take the ream of paper back to meet O1 privately. His expression was not good, he was very stressed, and he spent many hours with O1 privately. When he came out, O2's expression was much more relaxed, he looked bright, and he was able to smile again. And after that, there was a command message from O1 telling the zigzag person to leave the temple. But O2 probably didn't tell O6 to go. He went because of pressure from the IEA group. Since O2 didn't have the Dhammakaya eye like O1, O2 didn't see that O6 was a slave of the devil 100%. He was hiding under a gross body that created an image of himself to be admirable and polite, and acted in a manner that imitated O1 because O6 had been practicing to measure O1's footprints for a long time. But at least O2 had acknowledged O6's one ream thick guilt at that time. Who would have thought that on January 19, 2021, O6 would appear at the temple, at the dining hall on Grandma Teacher's birthday? And there was a command message imitating the real O1 but signed that someone supported the Zoom system and set a big goal to invite 1 million people to join the Zoom system by the end of January 2021, which was when O6 appeared at the dining hall on Grandma's birthday. It will be broadcasted live via GBN US channel after 2015 when O1 chased O6 out of the temple. O1 had an order prohibiting the temple channel from broadcasting any sermons of O6 and images of O6 on its temple channel. At that time it was GBN US channel because DMC channel was closed before the end of 2016 because they wanted to cut off the power to call in children from outside the area to help O1 help the temple during the period when they were going to use Article 44 to search the temple and arrest O1 in February 2017. But on that day, the temple camera captured the images broadcast from the dining hall, with O6 sitting on the stage, next to O3 or Luang Natita, who respectfully invited O6. People with Dhammakaya eyes would not accept that image. That in the brightness of the center of the merit-making ceremony that day coming from the center of the transformation of the monks and laypeople at the dining hall that day, there was a black orb of O6 in the center of the ceremony that day, without anyone knowing about it. Then what will happen to the group that sees black as white, sees O6 sinful people as one group, welcomes O6 who was chased out of the temple and never lets him come back, makes him sit on the stage for people to pay homage on Grandma Ajan's birthday? It is an immediate destruction of the merit of that day because it was wrong from the beginning when all the monks accepted O6 to sit on the stage with all the monks. That is, delusion has taken over the minds of the monks who invited him, and those who saw him and welcomed him because they did not know anything, their minds immediately turned black. How many monks will be left who know the truth and do not accept O6? It all started from that time. And the wrong view turned into doing wrong, and jointly doing wrong turned into jointly doing sinful work for the sinful side, has been happening ever since then. No one knows about it. There were only those who knew the truth that the hidden dragon was the real O1, who only sent news to Kyantawan to inform the children of the outer district. There were only a few who were open to accepting it. Therefore, from that year until 2023, whenever O6 came to the temple and entered the temple executive committee meeting, new projects would happen by lying and claiming that O6 had already talked to O1. If there really was a conversation, it was a drama that they had talked to someone who was placed to play the role of O1 instead of the real one who had left the temple since February 2, 2019. The fake person followed their plan that O6 conjured up a fake identity of O1 to come to the temple instead of the real one after knowing that the real O1 had left the temple. With the cooperation and ordering with imitating O1's message from O1's big secretary himself. Everything made sense and realistic and deceived the people of the entire outer and inner temples that there was O1 as someone who ordered everything in the temple. But it was the work of the big secretary since the end of 2018 onwards. And it became clear that after the order of someone in the new merit, the golden plate Sirarat, which started in the new year of 2019, there was news from inside sources that the name someone was used because the higher-ups did not like it and did not want to hear the name of Luangpur Damajao. They also ordered the removal of O1's picture from every place that could be seen in the temple. Take it all away, do not let it be seen. That shows that they prepared the area in the temple to welcome the higher-ups, who do not like Luangpur Damajao, do not want to see his face, do not want to hear his name. It shows that they want to please this higher-ups that much. And if the higher-ups hate O1 that much, they will definitely not step foot in the temple. So it means that the temple is preparing to welcome the higher-ups who hate O1 and want them to come that much, right? Then why are you sure that this higher-ups is Kumari? Because in the middle of 2023, there was a novice monk at Khao Q. Posted on Facebook with joy that this year, the novice received a scholarship from Kumari for the 6th year. Showing that Kumari has given the scholarship to the novice of Khao Q since 2018, showing that O6 has been contacting the higher Kumari since after O6, along with the traitorous disciple. The big secretary of O1 collaborated to cut off O1's authority to order through messages, which was since April 22, 2018. And what was agreed upon? They have been helping each other since then. And the agreement to share the benefits from the temple and all the temple's branch centers became information in the special classroom of the new faith group that set up the classroom in September 2021 after the temple used the Zoom system, which heavily promoted inviting members to reach 6 million on Asala Buka Day to record the Guinness World Record for lighting the most candles with pictures and letters in the world. And it was actually recorded that year, with O2 as the chairman of the ceremony. When the Asala Buka Day event was over, whether or not there are 6 million Zoom members, then a plan to create a new faith group was created and invited the temple people to leave the temple. The story was told like this: O6 was a representative of the Kumari heaven, negotiating with O1 to give the temple and branches to the heaven as a way to repay O1's old karma. O1 agreed to share the donated assets with the heaven 70 and the temple 30, which is equal to the temple and the branch becoming the property of the Kumari heaven. Therefore, the temple people who are the children of Luangpur O1 no longer have to make merit at the temple and the branch. They should go find a place to build a new temple and take Luangpur O1's textbooks to teach meditation by themselves. They do not have to be involved in merit making at the temple and the branch anymore. This is impossible to be true. But it is unbelievable that the leader of the new faith group did not doubt this matter and believed it completely. In addition, he seriously followed this agreement. We later found out that it was because the leader of the new faith group was the one who received the textbooks from the monks in the temple who called him to meet O1 and received the textbooks from O1 to continue teaching in 2019 after the real O1 left the temple. There was no way that anyone would meet the real O1 because O6 and O1's big secretary had already seized power to act on behalf of the real O1. Therefore, there was no way that the leader of the new faith group would meet the real O1. But of course, they met the traitorous disciple, O1's big secretary himself. Who would claim something from O1's meditation group to tell them that it was O1's textbook? Just like only O1's big secretary could select and copy O1's words from the original orders of the real O1 to be new orders when the real O1 was no longer at the temple. When O1's big secretary brought a book to the leader of the new faith group, he said that it was an order from O1 and that O1's textbook was given to him to continue teaching meditation instead of O1. He also did not need to make merit at the temple or the branch center anymore, and to gather a meditation group and find a place to build a new temple. None of these things had any good reason for O1 to let anyone do that because there was no way that was possible at all. Since the claim that O1 gave the temple to the heavens was to pay off O1's old karma, O1 has no way to share the donated money with anyone, as they say, whether it is 70 to 30 or whatever. Because of the fact that O1 has often said in his teachings in schools that, 1. The temple does not belong to him, but to the children of the donors who build it. He has no right to sell or give it to anyone. The monks in the temple are not the owners of the temple. They only help take care of the temple for the real temple owner who has to go out to earn a living. 2. The money donated by the faithful is for the work of Buddhism only. And any merit making is for that merit. Any spending must be according to the purpose for which the merit was made. No one has the right to share it. 3. O1 is the Dhammakaya Kot Fu all the time. The Dhammakaya arises through the center of O1's body 24 hours a day. Every time the Dhammakaya arises through the center of anyone's body who is like O1, the Dhammakaya will refine the karma. The results of the evil deeds, the sacred sins, and the sanctity. It also goes from the center of that person's body all the time. O1 is the same. O1 therefore has no karma from previous lives left to give results again. 4. If O1 has any past karma, it cannot be repaid by giving the temple and branches and the donations because the temple and branches and the donations are not his personal property that can be used to pay off his debts to anyone. If he does that, it is equivalent to committing a serious sin by violating the second precept, which is embezzlement of property and places that are not his own property but are things that the owner does not know about, i.e. the owner did not give them to others when they were donated. As O1 is a Dhammakaya Katabu who is an expert in Dhammakaya knowledge, who has seen hell and heaven and teaches the law of karma according to the truth that he has truly known and seen. He will definitely not break the precepts himself because he is afraid of the consequences of sin that he truly knows and clearly sees where merit and sin intersect. When is merit and when is not merit? He will clearly see it with the insight and Dhamma eye of the Dhammakaya within himself. When he will reach the end of the Dhamma, he will definitely not commit any new karma, even a little. Let alone a big deal like giving the temple and branches and the donations like this. How much of a sin is it? Therefore, the person who thinks of doing this must be a servant of the devil, so he can think of something like this and dare to tell anyone to announce this matter. Being someone who has such a clear and true wrong opinion, has created belief in a large group of people, from new believers and importantly, the monks in the temple themselves. If there is a group that can speak out openly on this matter, it is not making up stories or slandering. It is only O6's intention to have a channel to announce this matter. It is showing off his ability that he saw wrong but did not think it was wrong. He was the representative negotiating with the higher-ups, Kumari, and offering to give her the temple and branches, along with donating 70% of the assets. This clearly shows O6's ignorance of sin, and there is no way that it was the real O1's agreement. If the monks in the temple from the level of O2 to the temple's executive committee agree on giving the temple and branches to the higher-ups, believing that it was really O1's intention, if it is because they listened to O6's words, it means that O6 lied about the whole matter to make everyone believe that O1 had already given up. And if there is a fake O1 in the temple that makes people who do not believe, when they talk to him, they will have to believe it. Because it is beyond anyone's ability to think that someone would dare to do something like this. To the point of finding someone to pretend to be O1 to deceive everyone without fear of sin to that extent. But whether or not they encounter a fake O1, the fact that everyone believes all of this exaggeration from O6 clearly shows that the monks in the temple do not truly know about merit and sin. They cannot distinguish, cannot ponder, and do not know the true identity and character of the real O1. When the monks who manage the temple all have wrong views and then lead the relatives and devotees to continue making merit in the temple with such wrong views. Every new merit-making event that is announced to invite people to do something that is not the original standard merit of O1 since the time when O1 invited people to do something every year will become an event with impure intentions to begin with, even though there are two more pure things that follow. Those who make merit, whether they do it with money, physical, mental, and intellectual strength, will immediately receive sin every time because there was no merit to begin with. And because every monk from the inner region has wrong views, meaning they have wrong views. They are different from the 10 right views of the merit side, which means they are all on the sin side. When the leaders of merit who are monks in the temple have wrong views, they are all slaves of the devil and are on the side of sin. Any new merit-making event that is initiated and announced to invite people to do it, or in the name attached to the end that Buddhist worship of Luangpur, whether it is O1 or O2, no matter how many years. In the merit that Luangpur O1 never announced to invite people to do it in his normal season when he was alive. It is definitely to support the donation money to be divided to the Kumari 70 parts every time since then. Therefore, it is an impure intention from the beginning, becoming a sin. When it is sent through the outer area, no matter the host saint or the leader of merit, any devotees, even if they do not know anything, with a pure heart, come to join the merit-making event that is a sin from the beginning like this, it is equal to throwing away the merit that they have, no matter how much or how little. To take the sin from the event instead immediately every time. And the original annual standard merit-making of the temple that was initiated since the time when O1 was the leader of the merit-making. There will be a tight and thorough financial system, but even if there may be any leakage in the future, the merit-makers, if they really do not know that the temple embezzles this money to divide it 70 to 30, will always gain merit. Those who use physical labor to do merit-making will always gain merit. Those who donate money for these standard merit-making events will always gain merit. Because the original intention of inviting to make merit came from the O1 era. It is truly a merit that intends for everyone to gain a lot of merit, for the goal of reaching the ultimate Dharma according to Luang Pu Sad, Grandma Chan and O1 himself. It is a pure intention of merit, making merit with pure intention, with the factors obtained with purity, and the mind of the person making merit that is pure with precepts. Up to the Buddha in oneself, complete with the essence of making merit, will gain merit. Even later, there is the use of force or power or deception to take the donated money to use for other purposes according to the agreement. It is considered a sin only for the person who took it. In this case, sin does not always occur to the person making merit. Therefore, both cause and effect, with the story being like this. But the number of people who know the truth like this is very small because O1 only uses a special channel to tell. So it comes through the person who knows the truth and lets Kyantawan be the only one to convey it. In the past several years, there have been not many people who have followed and received these various things, and the fear has made them not dare to share and invite anyone, afraid of being scolded back. Afraid of the trend of people making merit who do not listen to anything, coming to attack and ruin good feelings, so they have kept it quiet to themselves all along. Therefore, these true stories have not reached everyone who should know, which number in the millions around the world. But the truth is that no matter what gender O1 is today, the O1 that at the beginning of today's program, we talked about Tangmo, that even AJ, who is not a relative at all, has tried to fight for justice and has worked hard for 2 years and has continued to move forward until the last second, that if the case is decided by the last person, it's over and he has no chance. He must accept this matter. It makes us feel sad when thinking about the O1 that children all over the world respect and love O1 and see O1's great virtues in a way that cannot be compared to an ordinary actress like Tangmo. But no one thinks of demanding justice for O1, even though it has been told that he was oppressed by O6 to death since the story of the truth of the famous temple in 2018, and has been told continuously for the past 6 months that O1 cannot stand the injustice and the sins committed against O1 from the person O1 trusted all his life, which is O2, but O2 believed and followed O6's advice and became a tool for committing sin, leading O1's children to commit sins while O1 could do nothing. O2 committed sins directly against O1 by O2 himself by not closing the case for O1, even though he had only one chance during the 180 days between October 2023 and April 2024. Just because O2 was afraid of O6 whispering in his ear that if he could help O1 get out, O1 would kick O2 out of the temple and not let him stay at the temple because he accused O2 of playing the stock market, which should be the reason O6 used to claim that O6 had been kicked out of the temple and not allowed to return twice, which was because O6 liked to play the stock market. In the definition of the word, someone who likes to zigzag, in O1's work instructions on September 4th and 6, 2017. And the first time he was kicked out in the middle of the Buddhist Lent in 2015 because he embezzled 700 to 800 million baht in donations to build that Chivo pagoda. O6 can say whatever he wants. As a hard-hearted person who is a slave of the devil and normally has wrong views, O2's fault was not doing as he had been teaching for many years, namely, not doing as per the first blessing, which is not associating with fools, which is one of the 38 blessings that O2 had emphasized and taught to all his disciples at the temple for many years. However, O2 did not have yoniso manasikara, which means having the ability to properly consider and consider based on reason whether a person like O6 is a fool or not. Even though he knew it, he still associated with fools. This way, it is clear that O2 definitely has wrong views. O2 even tolerated bias because of love, which was one of the 4 biases that O2 himself had regularly preached about. These were O2's faults that O1 had always forgiven, and always helping because O1 also loves O2 very much. But O1's love for O2 is a love that has been deeply rooted across lifetimes for countless lifetimes. No matter how many lifetimes O1 remembers, he will meet O2. Therefore, it is not normal that O1 will not let go of O2 easily. Because this path is to be born to build merit to the highest level of Dharma, which not everyone can come or go with. And if O2 does not really have top-level merit, he will not encounter the devil who sends the identity of a sinful person like O6 to follow and provoke, whisper in his ear, and even take advantage of O2's old weaknesses or old karma in terms of black magic, witchcraft, and evil magic that he has carried with him across lifetimes, not yet exhausted, to attract magical potions with magic that O6 has tried to put into O2. How much must he do to make a steadfast person like O2 walk the wrong way and see wrong as right like today? And importantly, after the information from Mongkorn told the real expert, let Keontawan tell the listeners, the temple readers who have been following the hidden dragon, to the point where O2 must decide to choose to date only O1 and permanently break up with O6, or let O2 put down his work and give back the temple administration to the laity. The latest clear information is that the biggest host, the former younger brother of the king who became a monk, is Kun-e, who was deceived by the treacherous disciple, the big secretary of O1, who used fake words from the fake O1 to order Kun-e to stop using his people to take over all temple administration after finding out that Kun-e's donations, totaling more than 6 billion baht, had disappeared from the temple without anyone knowing, and especially asking O2, who is considered the biggest person responsible for the temple, did not know and did not show any signs of doing anything. It is equal to letting or colluding with the thieves to take this huge amount of donations from the temple since 2022, causing Kun-e to have his people take over every point to find the leaks and solve the problem of the missing donations, because if it disappears once, it will disappear continuously if not fixed. And with your thinking, you must think that the huge amount of money is under the care of monks who do not work in the world. They will not be aware of the tricks and deceptions of those who come to deceive and take away that huge amount of money. Therefore, they must find a way to come and solve the problem. When everything is prepared, they will inform O1. As the followers of Mongkorn know, O1 has not been at the temple since 2019. This matter is in 2022. Of course, contacting O1 will not find the real O1, but a fake one. And they will not let the real O1 know about what they did wrong. Therefore, this is the answer now that Mongkorn O1 hopes to send to A to let you know that the person who gave the answer to A on that day in 2022 to stop and retreat was not an order from the real O1. Because if it was the real O1, the answer would definitely be, go ahead. When the real O1 left the temple, O1 had to work on the religion by himself. He could not use anyone to do it. Therefore, he did it in a way that relied mainly on the special method of Dhammakaya knowledge back and forth with the group of people who could practice the subtle Dhamma together. And the work that had to be done with the physical body of O1 himself, because he could not contact any disciples in the inner and outer regions to go to work for him, because he was still charged with evading arrest warrants. If he contacted anyone and the authorities found out, that person would be in trouble, meaning he would be punished as well.